Well, it is People, Power, and Politics. Welcome back to Detroit's only nightly political talk show. This is The Pulse. Joining us now to discuss the impact tariffs could have on you and your family, former auto supply chain executive and host of the Automotive Leaders Podcast, Jan Griffiths. Jan, it is a pleasure to see you. Welcome back to The Pulse.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Good.
So we're talking about tariffs here. And it is always tough talking about money, and we just had an interesting discussion during the break here. Let's talk about people's paychecks, because you were telling me this is not talked about a lot. I do remember during President Trump's first term, a lot of people said, hey, look, I'm getting more money in my paycheck. I think that was a motivation for a lot of people for this, this election cycle. But how are the tariffs impacting the paychecks that are coming up?
Well, that's a timely question. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot in the news lately about the UAW bonus checks. The UAW workers have experienced pretty good bonuses in the last few years. And GM, they're expecting the GM bonus check to be somewhere of $3,000 to $4,000 less than it was last year. Mm-hmm. But think about it from this way. Often we look at the headlines and we say, hey, tariffs are bringing in $150 billion. Yay, that's great, right? But let's follow the money. Yeah. So that $150 billion, that's a tax, that's a tariff. Yeah. The company importing the product pays that tariff. Then they get to decide how much of that do they eat themselves, how much of that do they pass on the consumer. So GM has been eating a lot of the tariffs. Well, now it's going to impact their profits. Where do we think this money is coming from? So if they have less profits, then the profit sharing and the bonus checks are lower. So that is really going to hurt us in this area.
Look, we have talked about, earlier in the newscast, we talked about President Trump saying he believes the tariff plan is working. What does that mean, and what does that mean for a lot of the people who are, at home and getting these paychecks, or really just trying to buy products for their home? Yeah,
we're going to see it impact just about everything we buy. I would encourage people to, when you go to the store, take a look at that tag or that sticker or the label and look at where is it made. I was at Corwell at the hospital today with a friend of mine. We had the discussion about tariffs, and we started to pick up all the medical equipment that was in it. Made in China, made in China, made in China. So again, the health companies are either going to decide to absorb some of that, and if they do absorb some of it, the next question is how long? And the auto suppliers, the auto companies are in the same situation. They will absorb it for a period of time, but it's not sustainable. They will have to pass it on. So we're going to see the price of just about every product that we bring in from another country increase. The effective tariff rate right now is somewhere in the 15 to 20% range. This is the highest tariff rate we've seen in this country since 1935. So if we think that we are not going to feel this pain, think again. We are feeling this pain.
You talk about products, and you were talking about products at the hospital. A big headline was the tariffs on computer chips.
Yes.
As we were talking about this, what realistically does that mean for people? Because we're always buying phones and we're always buying laptops seemingly every 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, good question. The U.S. buys roughly $60 billion of chips. They import around about $60 billion worth of chips a year, right? And President Trump just announced a 100% tariff on chips coming from other countries. So that's going to increase the cost of all products that use a computer chip, and that, as you know, there are a lot of them.
One other thing, in addition to computer chips, used cars. We're seeing a lot more people try to buy used cars. There's always the fear of, I need to get this car now before the price continues to go up. What have you seen, and how tariffs have affected not just people buying new, but buying used as well?
Yeah, well, the used market is starting to increase as well. We're going to be hit on all fronts. There's no two ways about it. And then we're also going to be hit in the auto repair side of things too, because if you have a used car, there's a chance that you may have to take it in for repair more often. Well, you still have to buy the parts that may come from another country. So we are going to be hit on all fronts. And then the repair shop has to buy gloves, has to buy products, has to buy equipment, that all of that could be subject to tariffs if it's coming from another country.
Look, it is not lost on me, and I've seen the tariff impact already on school supplies.
Yes.
But we have Halloween, we've got Thanksgiving, and then we have, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, New Year's. All those holidays are coming up. What is the outlook for how tariffs could impact our holiday spending?
When we started to talk about tariffs earlier in the year, there was a huge push and a huge rush to send products into the US to avoid the tariffs, not knowing what was happening. So there's a lot of inventory here. How much and how long it will last, I don't know. But as you say, we are starting to feel the effects right now, and it can only get worse as we get through to the end of the year.
Should people start buying now?
I would definitely encourage you to buy as soon as possible.
Jan Griffiths, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on The Pulse. Enjoy your weekend as well.
Thank you, you too.
Yeah, for sure.